Hi there, so welcome to another video for COMP3218, Game Design and Development at the University of Southampton. My name's Dave Millard, I'm one of the lecturers on the course, and I'm here with...
Ryan Jamshire, I'm a PhD student looking at transmedia storytelling.
And I'm Tom Blount, I'm another lecturer on the course.
Okay, so we're going to have a look at a number of pieces of student work they've submitted for their second coursework. Tom, do you want to say a little bit about what we asked the students to do?
So for this coursework, we asked the students to submit a game that was all about narrative. So it was we asked them to base it on one of three fairy tales we gave them. And the key part of this coursework was the story engine. So a game in which the story affects the narrative. Sorry, the story affects the gameplay, and the gameplay affects the story.
Brilliant. Okay. All right, so we've got a couple of games to look at. The first one of which, I think, is called The Unspecified Number of Ravens, which makes a change, because we've had a lot of 7 ravens, so... Okay, here we go. Play with tutorial. It's probably a good idea.
Let's do that. This is the game I'm thinking of.
Yep.
It may not have a tutorial. Or either the tutorial might be slightly broken. Well, let's try it.
So you can sort of wander about. There's a chest over there. A chest over there. Oh, there.
You have an interact button, but I'm pretty sure anything you interact with says I can't interact with that at the minute.
Let's just leave them. Tutorial. We need to go into town to find all the items required to unlock the doors to free your brothers. Okay. I'm kind of curious as to why they're telling us this with a sort of omniscient tutorial thing, as opposed to in dialogue or something. Each door is unlocked a different item. You can see which ones you have and which you are missing in the top left of your screen,
which we can't get.
So there's nothing up there.
It's not cropped up.
So that's also not helpful.
So I think the tutorial was a bit of a late addition, so they didn't have time to fully publish it.
End up carrying miscellaneous items which should come in handy when interacting with NPCs, okay? By pressing F. Right, okay. Yeah, cool. Good luck. Right. So okay. Press F.
Oh, it doesn't show up yet.
Okay. A tutorial. Why is there an empty tutorial box?
If I were you, I'd just go straight into play.
Yeah.
Okay, so the tutorial's a bit buggy. So we like the fact they have a tutorial, less keen on the fact the tutorial doesn't work. Okay.
Okay. But yeah, if you just go straight out and talk to that guy.
God, you do scamper about. Oh, I should have told this a long time ago. You have some brothers, and you have 7, and they never returned. When you go into town and find out what our friends might know about this, you'd have thought over the last few years she might have asked them herself. Yeah. Of course, I've always wanted brothers. Nah, I like being an only child.
Let's press E and just
go on, let's see what happens. It's a terrible thing. Go to anyway. Buy me some comfort food.
Make sure you talk to the horse before you leave as well.
This one.
Hi, we're talking horse. Okay. Nice. Metal. Alright, let's go to town. So path leading the way, I like that.
So her dialogue changes based on the fact that you've already spoken to her.
Which is also good. What's that? Is that one of our friends' houses?
Sort of. Well, it's the witch's house.
Witch. I dare say you look hungry too. Would you like some food? Food from a witch?
Yes, you're quite hungry.
Tasty.
Give me a minute. Oh, I quite like the little scripted bit. Okay.
So I don't know how well the sound is going to come across on the YouTube video, but we just heard a raven cawing and a thunk.
Yeah.
So enjoy this lovely stew.
Thank you for this delicious stew.
So this next bit is not super well signposted. Do you know what you have to do now?
Go to the pot and activate. Nope. Go to the table.
Nope. Have to go downstairs.
Go downstairs. Okay, that's weird. Why?
To find there are ravens, and if you'll notice there are only 6 ravens.
That's a bit harsh. But we didn't eat the stew.
Yeah, what was stew?
Yeah. Okay.
So each of those doors has a symbol on it.
Okay, so you need that thing to open the door.
Yeah.
Okay. You bring the item sheet. So that is 1 flute, a severed finger, a stick, a ring, and a scroll. Okay. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen with the finger.
Okay.
Right. It's harsh. So she kills one, and then demands us to This is a dark story. Alright.
To fetch some miscellaneous items.
So also worth noting that your inventory's now appeared. So you've got coin times 1, food times 1, and you can see the items in the top left. So I quite like that actually, that's quite nice. What is it? It's a shirt, so I can go and find my job. I use this here stick to improve my appearances.
Yeah.
Should we get his shirt or should we just steal his stick?
Let's steal it.
Have you got a stick? Give me some food.
I don't have any. Oh, I did
Yes,
have
you
some
do.
food.
The witch gave you some, I think.
Alright, give me some food.
Enjoy this raven.
Yeah, enjoy my delicious brother. Right, okay, so you've got a stick. Has it appeared? I can't see. Oh, it has.
Yes, on the left side.
Ah, what's this? Butcher.
Get him to chop.
Hang on, don't we need someone else's finger, it said?
No, I just said the finger.
Okay, let's chop ours off then.
We need a stick that used to belong to somebody. But yeah.
Okay.
Like, he's very blasé about that. Just, oh yeah, sure, okay.
So now we have a finger. I love the little picture of a severed finger. What asset pack do you think we had to go for severed body parts?
Like it.
Right.
Talk to a horse now.
Go and see the doctor.
So this is anyone you talk to now will say, I can't help you because you're missing a finger. Go and see a doctor. It's
Right.
a total accident that the horse is said as well.
Okay.
But I love the fact that it is.
So we now have to find a doctor before we can progress.
Yep, and I don't remember which building it's in because the doctor's office doesn't have a sign. It's not
So
just
these people okay.
So every single person won't talk to you until you've done that. So
It's a bit annoying.
story engine that works though.
Yep.
That's a pub.
I think it's
How'd you look at it?
that one there on the right. There we
That
go.
looks like a doctor.
There we go.
Alright.
So now we can
we
carry
go
on
talk to other people. I'd be put off if I went to a doctor's and there were human skulls on the floor. But okay. So we can go and get some more bits. Alright, so what we're going, should we start having a look? So, the unspecified number of ravens, bracket 6. So,
presentation. It's quite nice.
it's very nice actually. I would say that it looks really, really good, very consistent, and
There are a couple of sound
the
effects. here.
dialogue things seem to make an effect. You've got the kind of,
Like our inventory's displayed, not only what we're carrying, but what we still need.
and it's very clear. I would say this is really nicely done actually. So presentation, well, good would be key information showing graphics are consistent and appropriate use of audio. I think definitely hits that. Excellent would be key information is shown clearly, consistent and appealing graphics, and good use of audio. The audio, I would say, is a little bit on the thin side,
Yeah.
but even so, I think I'd be prepared to give them an excellent for presentation. It's really, really nicely put together.
Yeah.
Gameplay. I presume it's quite controllable. You're sort of
It's pretty solid.
Zipping
zipping around without any problems. The mechanics. What have we got? Just picking up stuff. Are you collecting stuff to unlock?
The traditional adventure game mechanic of pick up items and then go and rub it on everything you can find until something happens.
But it works.
But it works, yeah.
And you've got a little bit of interaction on the dialogues, so the mechanics work, controls work, and it feels like there's meaningful play. Right? Kind of.
Oh, I've got a free ring.
There we go. So that would be a good. Excellent would be a wide set of complementary mechanics and intuitive and smooth controls. I don't think it's quite there.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Food and money.
Like my food?
Okay, might as well.
So maybe for gameplay, or would you? I mean, there's a lot going on in terms of the different areas and the interaction with the doctor and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I guess you could sort of say that's a mechanic in that when you're missing a finger, you're not allowed to talk to anyone until.
And it's kind of in line with the story, and that's quite cute. I mean, maybe we could push it up to excellent for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, perhaps halfway between the two, if nothing else.
Let's deal with that if we're in some debate. Bugs.
So I don't think we've seen any yet, other than the tutorial not quite working. But
Yeah.
I think so. So when I played this in the expo, I definitely got stuck in a state where I couldn't finish the game, which was a bit annoying.
Okay.
Okay, you want a stick? We've got
So that's a shame
two
because
sticks now.
this
We're gonna
game's
give them
got
away.
a fair amount of complexity. So, do you remember what caused you to get stuck in that state?
It was just sort of the order in which I talked to some of the people. there was sort of just let me show you their story structure.
Yeah.
There are a lot of states in the story structure, and I think one of them just had a bit of a one of them got unfortunately a bit stuck.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a shame. All right, but pretty infrequent if it's one tiny structure.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, good would be minor bugs, and these are uncommon. I mean, that sounds like a very infrequent serious bug. So maybe we go for halfway between satisfactory and good as a game rendering, or the fact that it's so we haven't seen it. Yeah. Maybe we should go for a good.
I think it's still probably good.
Okay. Story engine. So, do your narrative choices impact the game world, and does the game world reflect some of the narrative choices you've made?
So in terms of narrative choices, things like deciding whether to help that, it's interesting. So this will come up more when I think we talk about the structure, but for example that horse thief, you've got the choice between agreeing to help him and not agreeing to help him.
Yeah.
Or at least, and when you've stolen the horse, you have the choice of do you give him the horse or do you not give him the horse. If you decide not to give him the horse, then he still takes the horse, but you lose invisible karma points, which will affect the ending.
Right. Okay.
So
your decisions clearly affect the game world in that way.
Yeah.
Also, I suppose you've got things like you choose to cut your finger off, and at that point,
yeah, exactly.
The game world reflects the narrative. You've got no fingers. Oh, here we go. Oh, you've been making trouble, so I'm going to hold one of your brothers back for you, and that's final.
So this is what the effect of that karma meter that's not really introduced through the rest of the game.
Yeah. Okay. And why would the witch think that anyway?
So there you go. All the brothers are saved. One of them's...
Well, one. And is that it?
I think that's it.
So there's no ending point. Ah, game over. Yeah. Okay. Because we ate one. Oh, sorry, we gave one to the beggar to eat. And she kept hold of the last one because we were... Okay. So I think the story engine then... So it
So it also mentions that if you give the beggar a shirt, his sprite now has a shirt on. Which, like a very small thing, but it does have an impact.
Alright, so the game world clearly reflects the state of the narrative, but do you make narrative decisions which affect the game world? Well, yes, you do. You kind of...
Well, that was their example of it.
Yeah. Okay, so it clearly works both ways. How well integrated is it into the game world? It feels quite natural. You're kind of making these. They don't feel like they're saying, "Oh, big decision point." They're kind of occurring within the dialogues and within the interactions. And
though it's never. So this will sort of tie more into the agency, but it's never obvious how those decisions propagate.
No, that's true. But I would still say it's quite well integrated.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So that would actually be excellent for a story.
We say E. There we go. So that doesn't kill one of our brothers, for example.
Yeah.
But agency-wise. So we've been rude and turned down her food, but it means we save an extra brother.
Yeah. Okay. So I think okay. Well, let's talk about this then. So the story engine, I think, is excellent. I think because it's well integrated. It's integrated at lots of different points, and it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Right. But agency. So they did hand in the diagram. You just showed it to me. It looks to me like there's lots of little split joins.
Yeah.
So it looks to me as well that there's lots of parallel things that happen at the end. So what are those?
So they all sort of loop and sort of join back to each other, I think.
So these are the different people, the different sort of scenarios you can encounter within the game.
As far as I'm aware, there are a number of ways to solve each problem. So, for example, you can just steal the stick from the beggar to get the stick, or I forget who else gives you one. Somebody else can give you one in exchange for something else. So there's a number of different ways to solve each puzzle.
So we want to. So you mentioned the fact that one of the problems is the consequence, because you don't know the consequences of what you're doing.
So we know we have to steal a horse for this guy, but a horse isn't anything on the list. He sort of hints that he stole something from the tailor.
Yeah.
But we don't need the thing he stole from the tailor. But we need the thing that the tailor will give us in exchange for returning the thing. So there's this sort of long chain of consequences that eventually get us back to where we need to be.
But also, if it's making judgments about us and we don't really know...
It's also interesting that it keeps this invisible karma meter that affects the ending of the game and whether the witch will.
Yeah.
But there's never any indication of that before that final moment where it happens.
So I'm not a massive fan of visible karma stuff, but you have to set it up. So you have to believe that there might be consequences.
Even if
but this is an evil witch who's turned our brother into crows, right? Why is she going to care whether we've stolen a horse or not?
Like, even if you just said something at the start, like only the pure of heart can.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever, right?
Exactly, and then you're like, okay, well maybe that's going to be important. So I think the meaningful choices are slightly problematic. However, there does appear to be several branching points.
Yeah.
And there is attempts to manage agency, again, because of the split joins, because of the way that the things are in serial, and because it gives you multiple ways of solving problems, and it deals with those. So if you choose to steal something, you can, and it manages that through the flow. Yeah? So where would we put that on the scheme then? So good would be an interactive story with several branching points, a few interesting choices, and some attempts to manage agency. Whereas the difference with that excellent would be that there's an effective system for managing player agency.
And this is kind of the question. It boils down to, are these choices interesting? And I'm not convinced. So, because we can definitely solve the game either way by doing all evil choices or all good choices, but all the good choices give us a better ending. Like, why would we ever do anything sort of karmically iffy?
So once you figure out that dynamic, you just I suppose it's a shortcut. It takes you slightly longer to go and get the shirt and all that kind of stuff.
Perhaps.
So you could argue that that's the consequence. I mean, I don't think it's disastrous. I think they're kind of they're posing interesting choices. They're moral choices. It's just they've not thought through the consequences, or they've not articulated the consequences.
They've not incentivized the player to take an evil action. Which is, so lots of games that have these moral choice systems are just, do you want to do the good thing or the evil thing? End of.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the games we've seen already will penalise the player for taking the moral choice as sort of to make that choice slightly more interesting.
So,
sort of
and some games have this kind of feedback loop. So I'm thinking of things like the Paragon Renegade thing, where when you start moving in one direction, you start getting choices which. So if you're acting poorly, you will get choices where you can threaten people. So, and that will give you more points. So it kind of this feedback loop where it drives you in that direction, and that's kind of nice because it's tempting you. It's saying, "Oh, here's an easy way out," right? And you have to earn that easy way out. But here you don't have to earn those choices; they're all presented to you right from the beginning. Okay, so in terms of placing where that is. I still think that there are some interesting choices, and there are some attempts to manage agency, and it's an interactive story with lots of branches.
Should we say good?
So I think it's still a good. I think we're kind of we've been critical, but still done a good job. Poetics. Do the narrative and gameplay complement one another? Well, here you're collecting items. You've got to get a finger, I suppose. You've got to cut your own finger off.
But I feel like
it doesn't have any consequences other than, again,
going
it's
and
time.
talking to the doctor. So it's interesting you say that it's time. We'll get into it more in the feedback, but initially this game was supposed to be on a timer.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be about racing around and trying to do all these things.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would have been incredibly punishing.
Yes. Doesn't really suit this style of game, actually.
No. 5 items, but you've still been making trouble.
I stole the horse.
So we get 6.
But I thought we didn't eat our brother.
We didn't, so we get 6 out of 7.
Oh, okay.
She keeps 1 for
so
us being evil.
1 for no reason. So where do we get to? So, yes, in terms of the
Poetics.
Are
the mechanics working against the narrative?
No, I don't think so. So I think this is satisfactory. They're just again they're orthogonal. You're collecting items.
You're doing some various odd jobs.
It's thematically resonant.
Yeah,
but that's it, right? Techniques, pacing. I quite like the little dialogue bits. They're quite nice actually.
Mm-hmm. Again, I think the pacing almost suffers from it being so open-ended because you can do anything in any order. There's the minor climax when you go back to the witch, but all she does is essentially look in your inventory and say, yes, you have the correct number of things.
I think there's no climatic battle. I think it is quite final, really. So it feels to me that really the pacing is quite flat. They've definitely used one technique. I don't think they've used more than one, though. So I would say that the technique writing is satisfactory, and the pacing is a pass. So that puts it between the two.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good place for it.
What about the feedback? What do they say?
So I mentioned before, they were initially planning to have the player on the clock, so it was more a race of how many of these items you could get before the timer ran out.
Yep, okay.
So
I mean, if they had done that, I think you're right that it doesn't necessarily suit the style of game, but it would at least have meant that the penalty for being good was an actual penalty.
Sure, but given that their whole sort of way of conveying the narrative is through these different dialogue things, would you have stopped to read any of them if you were on the clock?
That's the problem. You just race through. So
like,
unless the clock pauses, that's the thing.
Yeah. So
but even then, and the kind of game that it is, which requires you to think and solve puzzles and interact with the story world. So okay, so they said that. What else?
So the feedback they received was: ensure the player is aware of how the timer is affected during the dialogue scenes.
Yeah.
Cause the dialogue to change depending on the order in which you save the brothers, and to have each brother give a positive effect when they're released. So another thing they were going to do was you have to go back between each item you collect, and each time you slow down essentially, or something negative happens to make it harder to get to the last one. So again, sort of maybe affecting that pacing, but you're not really incentivized to rescue them if that's the case.
No.
So they scrapped the timer idea because, like you were saying, it sort of worked against some of the mechanics. And because they scrapped the time limit, they decided to scrap the idea of freeing the brothers to give the player some sort of effect. So now you can still go back and release them one at a time, or you can just go and release them all together.
Yeah.
We also asked them to think about some of the deeper meaning and the themes present in the original story, and to have some moral choices or decisions that reflect them and then impact the story. So they said because of the theme of self-sacrifice, the girl choosing to chop off her own finger replaces the block of wood that she lost, blah, blah, blah. So they focus on this and offered several moral decisions to the player during dialogue with NPCs.
Yeah,
so, for example,
they do.
You can force the butcher to chop off his own finger. But the thing is, like we already mentioned, there's no real consequence for cutting off your own finger other than having to nip and see the doctor.
Yes. So the feedback they've given is very well articulated, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
They've definitely tried to follow through on the feedback we gave them.
Yes. And some of it has worked. So the moral choices in there definitely make it more interesting. It's just that they haven't quite executed them. Yeah, signposted them well enough.
So I think getting rid of the timer was the right thing to do. I don't think this game would have been fun if you had to just blaze through it and try. Especially as this game is all about telling a story, you want to give the player time to sort of absorb that story rather than just them to essentially speedrun it.
So do we think that they've made reasonable changes with some success? Or only some changes with partial success? How successful do you think they've been?
It's very difficult to say because again, it's a fairly dramatic change in playstyle. I think I'd say some success.
So that puts them more at a good level.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe again, if we're umming and ahhing between the two, perhaps we should put it between the two.
I think that's always a good idea. Okay. That's it for the unspecified number of ravens. I think we should move on. Okay, so our next game is called The Ring of Power. Here we go. So, I was going to say, I wonder which one this is, but I think I know. That's an interesting graphic.
It is.
Wonder where they got that from.
Yeah.
The Ring of Power.
Hey, they've actually included
setting screen. I like it.
That's nice.
In the beginning.
There once was a man and his wife. They grew tired of living as outsiders in a world where the man's magical abilities were shunned. They had always wanted a family of their own. When the man's wife was first with child, they dreamt it would be a girl. But it was not meant to be at first. The mother gave birth to a beautifully healthy baby boy. The parents couldn't help but feel a slight disappointment, so decided to keep trying until they had a little girl. Every attempt resulted in another son, until they had 7 children, all boys. They decided to try one last time, to fulfill their now decade-old dream. Alas, the gods blessed them with a daughter. This was a bright and beautiful day. The birds sang for her arrival. She grew a few years, and the parents knew that she was weak. After all of this time, could it be that their dream would be ripped from underneath their feet, just as life began to feel just and right again? The girl grew weaker and weaker. She rapidly deteriorated. The parents knew what was happening. She had a severe illness. She was dying. They couldn't watch their daughter in such terrible pain. The father discussed long and hard with his family. Finally, all of the family agreed they must do everything they could to help the girl. The family gathered at the shrine in the enchanted forest and sacrificed their powers and forged a ring. The ring that would give this girl life and power beyond their knowledge. The ring absorbed all of the brothers' powers. Whether or not this would help the girl they did not know, but it was the only option. Hoping their sacrifice would work, they gave the girl the ring. After first laying the ring around the girl's neck, she improved dramatically. She could walk again, eat again, run again. The family rejoiced at the success and the girl's recovery. The ring had absorbed the brothers' powers and bestowed them upon the girl. She quickly became known for her powers. Across the realm she was known as the Witch of Vile's Garden, and this is where our story begins.
So nice kind of cutscene thing to start us off. It's quite cool.
I really like that they actually went and drew a bunch of artwork for it. That's
Yeah,
a really nice touch.
Yeah.
I'm going to be nitpicky though and say, again, if you're making a game for your portfolio, something that people are going to play for maybe 2 minutes, that is a lot of exposition to front load them with.
It is, yeah, it is. Honey, why aren't you moving? Remember, it's WASD. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's
I
quite cool.
like the integration. Come over and speak to me by pressing K. Off you go. Oh, I've got to use the mouse button as well. Toggle the range view of your spells. Okay. Icons in the action bar. Oh my goodness.
Right.
There's a lot going on here. Shoot a fireball with that dummy on the left by targeting it and then press E. Come back. Oh, look at all the stuff down the bottom. That's great. On the left. And you've got your manners going down.
Okay.
I think you want to destroy it.
I've got to destroy it.
It's taking a hell of a beating.
Yeah, the other one didn't. I don't know what was going on there. So
Sorry, you're going to be taught all of those, don't worry.
And the spells will have cooldowns, which is quite nice.
I'd expect it to just take one hit and then...
Yeah, for a tutorial, I love the fact they've got this little tutorial and it seems really nice together.
It's very in-depth.
But then it seems weird that they put a dummy in there with like 10,000 hit points. And... Great shooting. Now charm the right hand W with X. Come back when you're ready.
I don't know which one is charm. I'm guessing it's R.
X, is it?
Oh, does it say X?
Yep.
Oh.
Got charm the right hand dummy, it said. X, I think it might be because you killed the dummy.
Yep. I think so.
I think you killed the dummy on the right.
So if you press escape. Oh.
That's a shame.
The rest of the game was so polished that I was wondering if it'd have a menu screen or something you could...
Yeah, it looks to me like they've made the fatal mistake of assuming that the player wouldn't do...
The player would do what they were told.
Wouldn't do what
Should
they
we
wanted.
have to restart?
I think we have to restart. Which is a pity. Partly because we'll have to sit through this cutscene again.
No, it's alright, you can skip it.
Oh, okay, good. Right, here we go.
So I am very grateful that you put that in.
Right. Right, start game. In the beginning, we skip the cutscene. There it is. First frame out. Right, left. The one on the left.
Alright.
That's the right.
You've got to do the fireball first, haven't we?
Yes. No, don't destroy the dummy. Destroy the dummy on the left with the fireball.
Have we got to destroy all that?
No, not that one!
That one?
Yeah! You've got to be in spell range. I think that's so. There you go.
You have to destroy this one?
Yes.
Okay.
So the one you have to destroy takes a hell of a beating, and the one that you must not destroy, otherwise it breaks the game. Oh, go over there.
You got reset.
It reset.
Go over and try.
Did you accidentally hit the one on the right and it reset or something?
Okay. Add that dummy on the left. Right.
Okay.
It just says try shooting A5, it doesn't say destroy it.
Let's see if she says anything.
Yeah,
Okay. Now charm the right
right
button
on
with
the
X. Come back when you're ready. Done.
okay.
Does it
Nice.
actually tell us what it does, though?
It doesn't.
Use the haste lets you run faster. Okay.
So the information design's not too bad though. Like we've got some, like there's
Yeah.
definitely an indicator that it is charmed, even if we don't know exactly what that does. Whoosh! There you go.
Okay. That's good. Speedy. Will snare you. Untangle yourself. Okay.
So this tutorial is nice,
By the
but we're
dummies.
being front-loaded with a lot of information.
There is. There's a lot, isn't there? Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
G.
7, 8 spell.
Yeah. And they've all got different cooldowns. Heal yourself by pressing C. Try it on that dummy you injured earlier. That's nice. If we'd known that, we could have healed the other one and then we wouldn't have had to restart.
Yeah. Can freeze. They've put a lot of mechanics into this game.
There's a lot going on. Oh. Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool.
I really hope that the story that they
Yeah, I do.
Use-
There's a massive amount of effort here, isn't there?
Okay.
Okay, so what was T was invisible, was it?
Yeah.
It's got a long cooldown.
And what was the other one?
Can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. What was it?
Gives me a bubble.
Okay. Alright, let's go talk to let's see if we can. Yeah. So I really appreciate. It says press space to. Oh, that's what you can even split these. Even skip these bits. That young witch has such a strong firebolt spell. I must equip myself. I need to turn into a. Oh. That raven just bit me.
So yeah, we've got. So they've explicitly got a cinematic and a cutscene. So one rendered in game and one rendered out game.
It's quite nice. Really probably bar. Turn into my slave, mama. Okay. Yeah, right. Oh dear. Hang on. Oh, right there. Okay.
So again,
It's just a bit too much stuff, isn't it?
yeah.
Who are you? What is going on here? Turn these mortals into ravens. Okay.
You are enslaving them.
Let's go to my. Okay, so. Okay, the wizard has turned all your brothers into ravens. Yeah.
So I feel like we're maybe like 5 minutes in at least,
Yeah,
and we've not gotten to the actual game bit yet.
He's found stuff and explains to do. So again, that's fine if you're doing a whole game, but for a little demo, you need to get into it a bit quicker.
So
Right.
even just in terms of sort of pacing, right? You want to sort of grab your audience's attention right away.
Yeah.
And we could skip this, but I'm worried we'll miss
Yeah.
the story.
You have to go into hiding. Okay. So, should we start going through the?
It's going to be difficult to talk about gameplay.
No, we can talk about presentation.
Alright, yeah, okay.
Um,
Presentation, it's pretty gorgeous.
It's absolutely fantastic. I mean,
It is good.
they've done too much.
Yeah,
Right.
like the music, all the sounds for all the different spells, like the raven noises.
The information design is really nice as well. Even the press space to skip cutscene is flashing away in the top left. Everything is properly meaningful. You've got even like the cooldown, the information on the cooldown, really nice. So the difference, so excellent would be key information is shown clearly, consistent and appealing graphics, and good use of audio. Definitely, I think it's that.
Absolutely. At least
Prizeworthy would be novel yet clear ways of showing key information, consistent, thematically resonant graphics, excellent use of audio effects and music.
I'm sure it's necessarily.
It's not novel, but they've just. It's like even things like the cooldown stuff, and I mean they've just really gone the extra mile.
So just that in terms of information design, mousing over your spells. And
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
So, I mean, I'm not sure if it's quite prizeworthy, but it's getting there.
Should we put it between the two?
I think so. Very, very, very. I mean, I almost feel bad doing it because I think they've done too much. Right?
I would agree, but that's why we have this section. It's to reward people who've done
more than they needed to.
Who've done things in this area.
Oh, that's exciting.
I was going to say, and now we die at this section and then have to go
Felix,
back
don't kill me. I have a family. Kill me instead, I beg of you.
There we go. You make your choice through the mechanics.
Oh, look, you're flashing away. So, okay, I'm tempted now to up our previous mark because I think that's a really nice thing to do. Is to
highlight your options.
Highlight your options as part of the interface for the main game. Would you be happy with that? Because I think that's a like I said, having said I feel bad for giving them.
Okay, we found some transformation stones. I've honestly forgotten what they were for. That cutscene was so long.
Okay. Oh my god, the red-headed witch of Osgarden. Maybe she can help me out. Okay. I beg for your help. There are bandits. They will find me and kill me.
Alright. Should we carry on looking at the
so we
marks?
can sacrifice. So we can give them the power of invisibility. So we can't help him directly, but we can ignore him, or we can give him our power of invisibility, and then we won't have it. That's nice.
Yep.
So again, it's what we've seen previously with the idea of sacrificing some of our powers, but here now all of a sudden it makes sense that we've got that big array of spells that we can use.
On the one hand, yes. On the other, we haven't needed.
I was going to say we haven't used it.
If we'd have been, so the problem is, like, it's already such a big game. We're already so far into it, and we've not had a chance to use them. If the sort of cutscenes had been a bit shorter, and they'd instead put us through some gameplay, got us to rely on those powers, and then made us give them.
Well, it's like we said earlier on for a previous game. If we had to go through a kind of a puzzle where we used our special power, and then immediately had to go back through that puzzle without it, right?
So I still think the mechanic of it is really good. I think they maybe could have presented it in a different way.
A ruby gem. So I mean, I almost feel like there's too much going on now. I've lost track of what's happening.
Yeah, I'm losing my powers as I.
So you've lost a couple.
Through. Yeah, because I've chosen to.
Tiny tree elves.
And I'll probably lose another one here.
We can't get it to leave. Yeah. So a little arrow at the top there. That's so nice. Okay. So I think again it's a nice idea, but it's just repeatedly lose. We
never have a chance to use any of them.
I think what we needed was to have maybe 3 or 4 powers, and then we use them, lose them.
Yeah.
Use them, lose them.
I really like that idea of go through a puzzle with your power, and then have to make your way back without it if you want. If you
give it up. Choose.
But yeah, right now it's just.
I think they're blocking your way there as well. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
Well, look, there we go. So we've got to untangle. Okay. So now you need to untangle.
So it's also flashing E. So can you use a fireball?
Yeah, you can blast your way out of it, but it takes longer.
So I'm guessing they'll never get rid of the fireball spell.
Yeah, because it's like what you desperately need.
And again, does that undermine how meaningful these choices are? If we can always get through everything.
Yeah, probably does.
Is there a point in this when, like, if we'd have said no, I'm not giving away the invisibility spell, would that have helped us get through any of this?
Yeah, it's not clear, is it?
Like, there's so much content here. I'm sort of expecting that eventually it will happen.
Yeah,
but
Thank you. All right, we've got some grateful bunnies, which is nice.
Right, but just gameplay by itself.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So
There's a lot of mechanics, and they are.
there's a lot. They all work, and the controls all seem to work fine, right? So I would say this is a wide set of complementary mechanics, intuitive and smooth controls, and enjoyable and meaningful play. Actually,
It's the meaningful play bit that I'm
that's the bit
almost
that
taking issue with.
Well, what have you? Well, because you haven't had to use them, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we can freeze this one, and it's flashing. So it's not even like we have to think about it. We just press the button and it
Yeah.
flashes.
What kind
What's
of
that?
Sasquatch?
What was that X spell? That's charm, right? So we can charm the Sasquatch instead of killing it, and then we rescue.
Well, that's kind of solving the puzzle, right?
We get a thing.
So we haven't lost any. Oh, fireball. I mean, one of the issues is you've got your mana at the top, but it recharges fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So, okay. So in terms of gameplay, so I think. So for me, I think I agree with you. I think that the mechanics, a wide set of complementary mechanics, intuitive and smooth controls, all of that works. But enjoyable and meaningful play, that's to do with the design, really, the level design and how you. I would say that there is some meaningful play, but
It's slightly limited based on some of the choices they've made, and I feel like that maybe knocks it down to.
to a good.
Yeah. Maybe between good and excellent, just because of the amount of mechanics they've put
Okay,
in.
let's do that.
It's just a shame they never make full use of them.
And bugs.
I suppose we could have used our invisibility there, for example, but
Yeah.
minor bug in the tutorial, but that's basically the only one to speak of, especially given all of these different.
Yeah. So there are only minor bugs, and these are uncommon. And excellent is there are no bugs despite the complexity of the game. I think, given the complexity of the game, the fact that that's the only issue.
Sorry, what? Just
What happened at the end?
Okay, so I give them some stones that I collected on the way. She said it wasn't enough or something to save my whole family, and it kind of ended abruptly.
that was very abrupt.
Yeah, it's a shame. Given I was expecting there might be some nice denouement with the pictures and things again.
Yeah.
All right, well, do you want to launch into it again, and we'll try and make some different decisions? So bugs
There
then.
was a man and his wife.
Yeah, let's get that. So what are we going to do? So bugs. So for me, I would say it's halfway between good and excellent.
Yeah.
Because there's that one. Unfortunately, that one bug in the tutorial, which I think means we can't get it quite to the excellent level.
I think you took it so much damage from the statues that counted as failing the fight against the wizard.
Okay.
Sorry, I was reading ahead slightly.
Right, story engine. So narrative choices and the game, and vice versa.
So you've got the choices between basically giving up the spell in exchange for something or not.
Yep, and that clearly affects your game. But does the game change to reflect?
So that's how that.
So does the game change to reflect the stage of the narrative you're at? So you make choices in the narrative which impact the game.
A way of skipping this would be nice as well.
Yeah.
So the game world can be changed through the player's decisions, they say in their notes. When the player encounters the rabbit in the Tangled Forest, the actions with that rabbit in either the narrative or the game world, if they choose not to give him their power, they may kill him for mana, which I didn't notice was an option.
No.
After the scene, they either are thanked by the family of rabbits, or there are dead rabbits there.
Yeah, we were thanked.
Yes.
So they can either be thanked by the rabbits, discover a dead rabbit, or be offered the chance to learn from their previous actions and save a new rabbit. So they're given the chance to learn from their mistakes.
Okay. So it kind of comes back again.
Good
So it does flow in both directions. How well integrated is it? So it feels to me there are lots of occasions, but they are definitely set up as
some of them are better than others. So the one with the Phoenix, you have to sort of fight them, and then you get to the choice of finishing them off or healing them. And maybe that would be a better way of doing it. So you've got a limited number of like heal spells. So do you use it on the Phoenix rather than just
find the rabbit is crying? Do you use your Untangled spell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go with the kind of the old D&D spell memorization route. Yeah. So to rescue them, you kind of.
But some of the others feel really, really contrived. It's just a case of, well, like the next spell on the hotbar is this one. Let's find a situation where we can take it away from you.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is integrated. It's just slightly contrived.
Well, that would probably be good then. So an effective story engine. There's some integration with the game world, and it goes in both directions. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that sounds fair. I think.
Agency. So, did they hand in a structure?
Did they? So we asked, could you hand in, sort of at most 2 pages describing your thing. They have handed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So I confess, they did ask me. They said, "Is it?" I said, "Shall we shrink it down?"
To be fair, I'm glad.
And I said, "Don't shrink it down. Just hand it over multiple pages."
I am glad it's quite legible.
So yeah.
There are lots of split joins, but the split joins are mostly these particular choices where the split choices. The split is give up the thing or don't give up the thing.
So I mean, it's fine. Given the quality of the game, I feel it's a shame that they haven't been more ambitious with the narrative structure. Right? It's essentially a sequential series of encounters where each encounter you can go one way or the other. Right? And it doesn't feel to me like... And they all kind of accrue towards the end as a cumulative effect. But it's a very simplistic...
Basically all the choices do is they give you a transformation stone or a cursed transformation stone.
Yeah. And
I'm not actually sure what they do.
Well, they get resolved at the end, presumably, and that's it. So in terms of agency... It is an interactive story. It clearly has several branching points. Does it have interesting choices, though? Oh, I'm also saying it has an attempt to manage agency. So I think it's online for a good, but the problem is the choices.
Yeah.
Are they interesting choices? Because exactly what we just said, you don't use them. You don't feel the value of those spells. You've got no...
That's it. So you just use the sort of sprint to get through here, I guess. Does the invisibility work at all, or is it?
Let's try it. Which one is it? T. Seems to.
So when that wears off, are they going to start shooting at you? No.
Maybe not.
You go that way.
Yeah.
So what do we think about the choices? Are they interesting choices or not?
The interesting choices so far for me have been: do I want to give away my power for maybe something to happen later, or do I want to be mean and keep my power? But I don't know what the effects of that will be later on in the game.
And you don't really. But do you have a sense of how valuable the power is either? Because you haven't used most of them.
Well, the healing one obviously is good. I don't know about the vine one, because you can just get yourself out of those vines with the fireball. So I'm going to keep this power.
So for me, I think to be good, it has to have a few interesting choices. So it feels to me that actually it's still good. They've used structure to manage agency. Some of the choices, they've set them up to be interesting choices. It feels like they're not interesting because you haven't learned to value the spells, and they happen one after another.
Yeah.
It's like choice, and you never get a sense to get.
That's it. I feel if they. So I imagine they've done sort of 7 spells because 7 brothers. But if they just tweaked it and said you've got 3 brothers, you've got 3 spells, and then sort of fleshed out each area a little bit more,
it'd be better. But I still think it's good. I think it just caps it and stops it being more than that for agency.
Yeah, I agree.
Poetics, do the narrative and gameplay complement one another? So it's the same thing, isn't it? In principle, they do. In principle, it's a really nice idea
I think
because they're your abilities, and you're sacrificing your abilities to progress through the game. And we had a game earlier that was like this, where you were kind of you'd lose some
health or whatever each time you do it.
So I think as an idea that works really well.
I think this captures it better than some other ones we've seen, just because the things you're losing are more integral to gameplay.
Yeah.
So ones we've seen before, you make this choice, you lose a thing, but then it has no impact deliberately. So whatever puzzle that you couldn't solve now that you've lost a thing is removed for you.
Yes.
Whereas in this, having the spells would still technically be better. They just haven't taken full advantage of.
Yes. So good would be narrative and gameplay complement one another as the key mechanics for keeping with the themes of the story. Excellent would be that they support one another and they emphasise the themes of the story.
So I'd say it's definitely good.
Yeah.
Is it higher than that?
Maybe put it between the two, because I think they were aiming for higher than that, but because of the way that they've executed it, they haven't quite pulled it off.
I think so, yeah.
Techniques. Well, I mean, they've got that marvellous cutscene stuff at the beginning. That's a bit
cinematic. They've got the in-game cutscene. They've got dialogue. Do we have dialogue choices?
Whether you want to get rid of the power as a dialogue choice.
Yeah. So it's all
this
there.
one is a dialogue choice.
And for right pacing.
So each level seems to be...
Here's your climax.
So each of these decisions we're presented with, they don't feel like they're upping the stakes in any way. It's just talk to person, give up power, talk to person, give up power.
I think there's no gradual rise, so we're here at the end now. So do we actually have a climax here? Or is this just the culmination of the story? So we do have to go and fight, right?
Because I think he's taken my valuables anyway. But
you've got all your powers now.
Yeah, I've got my powers, but I don't have.
So here we go to the wizard's lair.
So that's a false choice to sort of manage your agency.
Yeah.
So it's not even on their diagram. It just says give dwarf all gems to proceed into lair.
Yeah.
Okay. Defeat my minions. Okay.
It's annoying that they
got all your powers, haven't you?
Folly.
Heal. Which one do I? Here was C. Can you charm one as well? That work?
Yes.
Because you can't dodge those fireballs once you're.
Not really.
So it almost feels like this. It makes this gameplay a lot more sort of slower and methodical and balance.
So I mean, this is a kind of climactic battle. It doesn't feel very climactic, but it is slightly more involved than all the things you've done previously.
Also, you're sort of bringing these things down to 0 HP, but you never actually killing them.
Protected bubble, maybe? Ah, there you go. Help you defeat the treacherous monster. Okay.
So we defeat the minions this time, and because we helped him beforehand, he comes to our aid.
Yeah.
Okay. So I kind of again, it's like I like what they're trying to do, but they just haven't quite managed it. So I like the fact of having this kind of climactic end sequence.
Yeah, I can either kill him or heal him.
And it's a diegetic choice.
Yeah.
So what happens if what happened last time? So we got
last time we just lost.
Yeah.
So should we heal him and see what happens? It's slightly unusual. I like that.
But the thing is, we made evil choices all the way throughout, right? We killed all of the stuff. We got the cursed gems. So how has any of that affected this?
Yeah.
Well, we did side with the evil wizard.
Okay, so in terms of the techniques, I would say that
so it does.
I would say the pacing is slightly better than flat because you've got this thing at the end. So what happened there?
I had 3 gems and I used them to transform 3 of my brothers back.
Okay.
So you only get a transformation stone if you take the good choice, I think. Otherwise you get a cursed stone.
Got you. So I kind of like this. It kind of has a proper resolution and everything else. So I think the pacing could be a bit better, but it has a climax at the end there in that scene. There's a lot of really good techniques in terms of actually delivering the story. So for me, I mean, I would say that there's a fairly sophisticated use of multiple game writing techniques.
Yeah, the game writing techniques definitely.
I mean, that's the prize-worthy level, really. But the pacing, is more like satisfactory.
Yeah.
So
puts us in a bit of a difficult position.
Well, if we were to go between the two, that means we're halfway between good and excellent.
I think. Yeah, which is a real shame because they put so much effort into the actual sort of story techniques.
Yeah.
But I think that is where
it is.
Where it sits. Yeah.
What about feedback? What do they say?
Oh yeah, got that somewhere. So they initially said. So the feedback they initially got was the mechanics were sort of out of tune with the narrative. They were told the mechanics were out of tune with the narrative, so they altered the story so that the mechanics available to the player made sense with the narrative and to give greater sense of immersion. Oh, I remember this, talking to them about the design. Initially they had, instead of sort of spells and things like that, you fought in Pokemon battles.
Oh, right.
So they completely changed. So again, one of these games where they completely overhauled it based on some of the feedback they got. Explaining the meaningfulness of choices and the key decisions. So at first their choices were obscured from the player and they sort of rippled forwards without the player knowing why.
Yep.
So again, initially, when you saved or killed the Phoenix, basically split the story completely in two and you saw two totally different stories based on it.
Right, okay.
Choice of actions over choice of dialogue. So the diegetic choices they tried to include because of that.
Yeah.
And being able to skip cutscenes. All of which I think were valuable changes.
Yeah, and they've articulated them well. Well, excellent would be feedback is clearly articulated, appropriate and effective changes have been made. I think that seems reasonable. So I mean we've complained a little bit in a few places, but I think the reason is that actually this is a really nice game, and they've thought about this a lot. And at the places where it's kind of dipped slightly below the kind of the excellent level, we almost like disappointed that it's done that, because I think it had the potential to be more. But still, really nice example and really complete and a huge amount of work. So yeah, well done for that. Okay, I think we should move on.
All right.
I think this is called Girl, A Tale of Seven Brothers.
A Story of Sacrifice.
Story of Sacrifice. So people obviously believe in a significant title.
It's much better than just another Seven Ravens title.
That's true. Oh, some nice music. Once upon a time in a far-off land there was a poor farmer with 7 sons and a single daughter.
There's music.
There is music. One day the brothers were out collecting water and ran into, and in their hubris insulted an evil witch. Oh, I see. Right. The witch, enraged, cursed the brothers, turning them all into ravens and banished them to be held for eternity in a far-off castle built inside a mountain. The girl continued to grow up knowing that something bad must have happened to her missing brothers, and vowed that one day she would find her brothers and bring them back home. Alright, so it's a nice setup.
You must read some great bedtime stories, Dave.
Today is that day.
Oh.
Nope.
Is it?
Yes.
Ah, there we go.
A little bit of tutorial, it's good. Use the left and right arrow keys to move left and right. Excellent. Oh, I quite like the little bit of...
like that you can't move on until you've proven that you can do it.
All right.
Way to remember your tutorial coursework.
And hold space to run. Presumably run and jump. And a nice thing to incentivize you. Look at this. It's kind of big, thick and fast.
You can go this way if you can't figure it out either.
Right. Press Q or E to consume your bread and gain a short boost of energy.
Hang on.
What do you think that does?
Can I use... Okay, I can actually use WASD as well, which is nice. Okay. Because I was thinking arrow keys and Q and E is not a fantastic combination. Right.
Be careful to conserve your bread, as it can be useful in different places.
So I'm going to eat it now to see what happens.
So just give you a...
Does anybody see a health bar? Oh, it's over there on the side.
It's a bucket, and I think it might be going down very gradually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't have any bread, so...
Oh, Hello.
The girl vows to set out and find her brothers, even if it bring her beyond the ends of the earth. The route starts through the forest, but she's unsure about whether it's safer to leave during the day, when visibility is better and it's hotter, or leave at night when it's cooler but harder to see. So here's our choice.
Should we do?
Should we travel by day or travel by night?
Night.
Night it is. All right.
Here we go.
I like that we could restart the level.
So
I have already forgotten it. Oh, okay, that's fine.
you had to remember your Q&E to consume your bread that you've already consumed.
The control scheme's a little weird. It's arrow keys to move and Q and E to eat and space to sprint. You can use A and D to go side to side, but you can't use W to jump.
Right. Yeah, that is odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, there's more bread.
More bread.
All right, it's
Way to get more bread.
So,
more bread.
That looks like there should be a way up there, doesn't it?
Looks to me like you can probably come
Maybe
back that way.
sprint.
Oh, you ran out of water.
You just died. You didn't eat enough bread.
Oh.
I think you spent too long complaining about the control scheme. Not enough time getting to the end of the level.
Right.
So so there's a timer. I don't think they've explained that to us at any point.
No, but it was very.
Oh,
you could just
okay.
restart the level. That's fine.
Oh, that fills you up.
Oh.
And they force you to go through that.
So that's quite nice.
I guess you could argue this is still part of the tutorial.
This is a tutorial level, absolutely.
Can you get back up there, or
Huh?
can you get up there, for example?
I probably need to use the Uber bread, right?
Oh yeah,
Sprint.
Oh
no.
my god. Oh.
Ah, there you go.
So I use one bread and I can
That's
get.
a slightly weird mechanic. You kind of consume this energy, and then all of a sudden you become uncontrollable.
I like. Drink some more water. Oh.
Oh, okay.
The girl, having wisely passed through the forest at night so as to save her water stores, realised as much, set off toward the moon, the great magical body that does a little to illuminate on her travels. To save your water stores.
So
but you refreshed your water stores at the end of the
We did, but maybe if we'd done it during the day, they would have gone down faster. Or
Yeah.
they taught us something there.
But then maybe that we'd have got them at the end of the well anyway. It would have been
We died once
and
at
I thought
night.
it reset. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a suspicion that what they've done here is just put in a level select as and framed it as a narrative option. But let's see. Okay.
Oh, on the moon. Oh, well, that makes sense. We're on the moon.
So now we're on the moon.
Let me.
So I quite like this. Some nice stuff going on there. The graphics are quite cute. A little bit of parallax going on.
I'm gone.
Or eat some bread.
Here's a question: if I eat some bread and then reset the level, what happens?
Did you just die?
I think I suicided to reset the level. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So can I now? So I'm on 4 bread.
Yeah.
If I hit reset, what happens?
You went back to 3.
I was just checking. I was wondering if I could get infinite bread. So that's quite nice.
Okay. So let's see if we can get through this.
Oh, I'm using bread powers.
Yeah.
The power of carbs.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh.
There's a well.
There's some well. Oh, what is that?
Why is there a ninja? Oh.
An ominous being appeared. The girl rises. It may be the same one that occurs to brothers, saying, "Your brothers aren't here, dearie. You're going down the wrong track. If I could tell you where they are. Just pass me over some of your food. We've got to sacrifice something if you're going to make this journey." Here we go. So we can pay 5 bread, or we can refuse to pay.
Do we have 5 bread?
We do have 5 bread, but I'm not sure what it's going to do.
You're going down the wrong track. Tell you where they are. Should we? Don't know. What should we do?
There's probably not a lot of harm in paying, but also I'm kind of curious what.
Yeah, go on. Let's refuse to pay. Make this hard for ourselves. We need our bread. That's all our bread. Okay. What's happening now? Oh.
Okay, it's sent us somewhere else now.
So it's randomly teleported us somewhere else.
Still looks like the same
still on the
place,
moon, yeah.
So they've done this slightly weird sprint mechanic when you hold space, and actually, why not just do that permanently? Because it's not. Oh, I need to use bread powers to get that. Oh.
I do love the little death.
The little squeal.
Yes.
Yeah. All right then.
All right.
Okay.
Bread powers go.
So should we start to talk about some of the aspects as we go here?
Absolutely.
So what do we think about the presentation?
I actually think I really like the information design in this one. Everything, the bread, the water, it's where you'd expect it, and the tutorial in the beginning, way to remember the tutorial work, right?
Yeah, and actually the graphics are quite cute.
Yeah, there's music, the sounds, the dead squeal. You know,
I mean, they've got the background there is a bit pixely compared to the foreground, but they kind of get away with it. A little bit of music going on. Yeah, there's a lot to like.
There's a lot there, yeah.
In terms of presentation. So, good would be the key information is shown clearly, graphics are consistent, appropriate use of audio. I think it's definitely good.
It's easily good. What's the next one up from there?
So,
Ooh.
excellent would be... Oh, blimey. Key information is shown clearly, consistent, appealing graphics, and a good use of audio. So it's whether or not we think the graphics are really appealing and the audio works really well, basically.
So I think the audio is genuinely very good.
I think it is too.
I do think there's a slight... I'm about to die. Slight disconnect between the... Wait, wasn't I meant to go see the moon or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were on
Slight
the,
disconnect between the backgrounds and the tile set.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Really, I actually kind of like that.
Okay.
But that so there's an aesthetic difference there.
You know, it's quite polished. The little narrative, seedy things come up. They look pretty good.
Oh no, I'm about to die again.
I mean,
Red powers.
If we're umming and ahhing,
Yay!
Should we say halfway
please.
between?
Yes.
Yeah, so halfway between good and
job.
excellent presentation.
Okay.
An ominous being appeared, not again, saying, "Your brothers aren't here, dearie. You're going down the wrong track. I tell you who they are. Just pass me some of your food."
Alright, so last time we didn't give them any food, and we seemed to get nothing out of it. We did the second moon level, and nothing happened, so maybe we should try and...
Go on then, let's play that. We got 11
We
bread.
have 11 bread, yeah.
You have to go much further to the stars. Alright. After I went to the stars to try and find the brothers, so we got the stars. I quite like the sun and the moon and the stars as being levels, and with background. That's quite cute. What do we think about the gameplay? So this is in terms of the mechanics, the controls, and whether there's meaningful play. What's it like to control, Callum?
Well, it's a little weird, as I mentioned earlier, with the Q and E being on one side of the keyboard, the arrows being on the other. It's very much a two-handed sort of play experience. But the platforming is very tight, which is really nice. I'm about to die. Give me a sec. Yeah, the platforming is really good.
I'm really not quite sure about the boost mechanic. It seems a bit strange to me.
And this,
are you coping with it all right?
So I think it's meant to be this meaningful choice with how you use bread, but the reality is there's just so much bread that it's not really an issue at all. You're basically guaranteed, no matter which way you go, no matter how much boost you use, to pick up at least as much bread as you expend, if not more.
Now, interestingly, actually, I actually want to counter this. So looking at the narrative structure, bread plays a bigger purpose than just boost you along.
Okay. So I guess we'll come to that.
So so maybe we'll get a part of that, exactly.
Okay, well, so where do we think we are? So, I mean, I think it works. So satisfactory would be a set of mechanics, usable controls, and some meaningful play. Whereas good would be a set of complementary mechanics, smooth and usable controls, and meaningful play.
So I would say that meaningful play is the bit I would question a little bit, because aside from that water timer, there's not a lot of challenge or choice in the level design. So you can go pick up more bread, but why wouldn't you just go and pick up all the bread?
So for that reason, should we say satisfactory for the gameplay?
I think that's fair.
Here we go. The same individuals before. Girl, you want to find your brothers, but you won't be able to rescue them unless you can free them. I have a key, but I require some persuasion. Okay. Do you pay for bread? Well, you might as well.
Alright. I got 12.
Happily collects the key that she paid such a high price for. What, 3 loaves of bread? What's that? That's about...
Bread is clearly currency in this land.
That's about £2.40.
I wish I could get a key cut for £2.40.
Anyway. In the knowledge that it will prevent her journey being for naught. Okay. She sights the castle in the distance and begins her long walk to reach it. She can almost taste the completion of her journey. Okay.
Oh, I like the music. Alright.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And I do love the difference between the background and the foreground.
Ooh, you me.
Died.
How did you...
I restarted that because
you hit the restart
I'm
button.
concerned about water. I really like the way the music fits the levels as well.
Yes, that's nice.
That's incredibly thematic and a really nice use.
So, bugs.
I haven't seen any bugs yet.
few like keyboard quirks aside, I can't say that I've seen any either.
I think it's fine. So good would be, only minor bugs and uncommon, and I think it's at least that. To be excellent though, we have to be looking about the complexity of the game. How much complexity do you think we have here?
Well,
there's a fair amount going on. There's a little platformer happening. There's multiple levels.
There's a narrative intertwined with that.
Yeah, there's a choice mechanism going
Radio?
on.
Oh no!
Speaking of bugs.
Oh no!
Well, unless that is that.
All right.
Oh, that's interesting.
I might have to see if I can find another way of doing this.
Use some bread.
Bread powers. Can we make it this high? Oh no, we can't.
Can you use bread power to get through that hole? Is it kind of?
Don't know. I'm running out of bread though.
Hey, you did it. Good job.
Okay, cool.
You can. What were you saying about bread not 2 minutes ago? There's loads of bread. I'll be fine with my bread.
Well, I didn't appreciate having to use bread to get around a bug.
The girl reaches the door of the castle knowing that the only thing separating her from her goal is the door. Right, before we go on, let's do the bugs thing. So I think so there are. It's at least good.
Yeah, easily good.
It might be verging on excellent.
I think it is. That was like a minor thing that
okay.
I mean, maybe halfway.
Halfway, I think.
Okay, let's go for it. So the only thing separating from her goal is the door. Pulls out the key. Yeah, the key is turned and success. Okay, let's see what awaits her. See what's in there. Cool. See a bit of it.
Da da da.
Oh, there's the ravens.
Oh, okay.
They're not going to attack you.
Alas, it was not enough to save all her brothers. Oh, you used all your bread to get here.
Okay.
You needed your magic bread to turn the ravens into brothers.
Of course we did. Okay. Okay, so I guess we have to get more bread to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll come to some of these things in a moment, because I think it's... If you don't know that, at least the first pass through, it's slightly strange. But let's talk about things like the story engine and those kind of things. Let's actually talk about agency first, because it's not clear to me what the narrative structure is here exactly. So... in agency, we're really looking at whether or not they have an interactive story and how they've managed agency and how they give us interesting choices. Age, have you got the game notes there? Did they give us a structure?
They did give us. Well, so they have a structure of choices that the user can, or the player can take. So basically, you can choose when to leave, night or day, which sends you to the sun and the moon. Depending on whether you buy information or not, you get sent back to the level.
Right. Okay.
Or not, and then when you finish that pass, you then. So you basically have to replay that level before you then get back sent to the other one, the sun or the moon.
Yeah.
So buying information will shortcut pass through. At which point you ultimately will make it to the stars. And you at the stars you have to if you could buy the key. If you have enough bread. If you don't have enough bread, you just have a full failure. If you do have enough bread...
So if you can't buy the key, the game ends?
No. I'm so sorry, I missed one. If you don't buy the key...
Yeah.
If you have enough bread... If you don't have enough bread then, after buying the key...
Yeah.
Then it's a full failure. If you do have enough, you'll go on to a partial failure, if that's the way that line goes.
Yeah.
If you buy the key, then it's a choice between have enough bread for a partial failure or a full win.
What we had was a sort of partial failure, I guess.
Because we didn't have quite enough bread.
So okay, well let's think about that is probably enough to talk about the story engine. Let's talk about the story engine then. So the story engine is do the narrative choices you make affect the game world, or does the game world affect the narrative choices or the narrative? So we are making choices here.
That's a bug. I'm supposed to be on the moon.
And it does affect the game, in that we have to go back and redo some of the levels.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very sophisticated effect, and I think kind of there is a danger, I think, when you do this kind of thing. That if you work at quite a granular point, like having to redo a whole level or choosing between one level or a different level, you're kind of not really taking advantage of the narrative stuff. And actually all you're doing is doubling up the assets you need choosing alternative levels.
Yep.
But it does do it. And in terms of so the choices you make in the narrative affect the game world. The things you do in the game world affect the narrative. I suppose they change the set of choices that you have available to you. Because if you haven't got enough bread, you can't make
you never make into the right choice.
So I think that they do have things going both ways.
Yep.
But it feels to me like it's quite clunky. So Satisfactory would be a simple story engine that has limited integration with the game world. There are some examples where the story impacts the game world or is impacted by events from the game world.
So
I feel like we're a little beyond Satisfactory on that one, but
yeah, I think because it's going both ways.
So I would just like to mention something as well that I've just realised.
Yeah.
You can, if you refuse to pay, it sends you back to the same the level to do it again, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Only once though.
But I'm making a net profit on bread per level.
Absolutely.
So I'm just farming bread by refusing to pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to pay because I have more than enough bread to see me through to the end of the game.
Yeah. So I agree. So for story engine, good would be it's an effective story engine that has some integration with the game world that goes both ways. And I think here that it does go both ways, but the integration is quite poor.
Yeah.
So I think halfway between satisfactory and good.
I agree.
So in terms of agency then, so what do we think about the story and about the choices and about how those choices are managed?
So
for me, I'm wondering whether this is the bit where it's a bit weaker.
yeah, so you get it kind of the second time around, or you get it because you've got the narrative choices in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I would get it. In fact, we were kind of lost and clueless that first pass through the game. We weren't making informed choices or meaningful choices.
No. So, I mean, they clearly do have a branching narrative. There are different things that happen. So that's clearly there.
The key.
Well,
In terms of the narrative choices, I suppose they've sort of used the structure of the narrative to control the choices. So, you know, basically, effectively they have split joins because eventually you end up coming to the next level. It just, depending on your choice, depends on how you got here.
Yep.
So that's what they're doing. So there are some attempts. So there is an interactive story. There are some attempts to manage agency.
Ooh, she just cut off her finger. Sorry.
Okay.
I got sucked into the game.
So why did you have to do that?
Because I mistakenly refused to pay for the key.
Oh, okay. So what's the consequence?
Yep, keep going.
So what happens?
She's got a bloody finger. I mean,
It's
this might be a partial failure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we still get in, she just cuts off a finger.
So it's a partial failure maybe because she saves her brothers but loses the finger.
Yeah. So I have 23 bread. Hang on.
However, the same will keep going to save all of her brothers. So now we're given a choice. Do we? Oh, let's save the bread. Not just the brothers. Okay.
Save the bread.
So she's succumbed to exhaustion. So there's a narrative consequence, but there's no game consequence.
Yeah.
So, and this is the problem, I think. They're kind of. So if you're going to sacrifice something, you have to sacrifice something that actually means something to the player, really. Okay, so in terms of the agency, then we said that there is some interaction, there are some ways of managing agency. The problem is the meaningful, or the interesting choices.
Interesting choices. Yeah.
So
informed choices.
I think basically where we are here is we have a story structure which is kind of good, but choices which are at best down at the pass level. Few interesting choices, and they even be slightly lower than that, right? So if we were to compromise, I guess we'd be ending up somewhere like satisfactory.
I think so. I think so.
So what about the poetics? So this is how well the narrative and gameplay complement each other. I mean, thematically it all kind of works.
I think thematically it works nicely. You're on a quest, you run out of water, you're collecting bread, which you can use yourself to go faster or save your brothers.
And then you expend that to kind of make choices within the narrative. So that kind of works, and it kind of fits with the story and the theme of sacrifice. I think the reason that we're a bit hesitant is, it's like Callum said, bread's not scarce enough for it to be a real choice.
Especially since it's only particularly useful in the game world for getting more bread.
So I think the design of the actual mechanics and the narrative is pretty decent. It's the execution and the levels that are letting you down a bit, I think. But in terms of the poetics, so I would say that satisfactory would be the narrative and gameplay do not interfere with one another. I think it's better than that.
I think it's much better than that, yeah.
So good would be they complement one another, and the key mechanics are in keeping with the themes of the story.
I think that's where we are.
And that seems about right. What about techniques? So this is the pacing and the way in which they got the dialogue, the narrative across to us.
So, in general, I think the pacing is fairly flat, but I actually think that they are... I'm engaged in how they put the dialogue in.
You've got the different points. So you've got the kind of, the culmination where you meet the weird ninja character from the moon. So you've got those kind of points. And I think the problem is that they really don't have a very good climax.
I think that's part of what
it just falls flat at the end.
Yeah.
So there's kind of these beats and then just the.
Yep.
And in terms of the mechanism, they basically have two ways of doing it. They've got those kind of text on screen, which is effectively a cutscene, and then they have the kind of dialogue where you make choices. Yep. So they actually do have multiple ways of communicating the story.
Absolutely.
So if we were to look at the scheme, for pacing, I think is a problem. I think that pacing probably is at the pass level.
Yeah.
However, there is use of more than one game writing technique, which is at the good level.
Yep.
So again, I think we end up being probably at the satisfactory level.
Agreed. So, yes, agreed with this. Actually, before we move on, in this level in particular, I actually want to go back to what we said about it was presentation.
Yeah.
The music in this...
yeah, very good.
It's really... really wonderful, and I mean, I think just the music itself, I think, pumps them up another half. I really do.
I can see it, honestly.
It's well thought through.
I like the design of this whole level.
Me too.
To be honest, the whole sort of ascending to the castle.
Yeah.
So if we go back to our presentation,
which we did at the beginning when we'd only seen one level.
Yeah. So we gave them a halfway between good and excellent.
I would put this as an excellent.
And excellence was
weirdly
consistent and appealing graphics, good use of audio. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm happy to bump that up to excellent.
And I think there's actually a lot going on in this level, because actually this level is an entirely narrative level in a way. Yeah. It's all about that sort of the final climb to reach your brothers and the music.
It's quite nicely integrated, isn't
it? It's actually one of the better ways I've seen in this coursework of telling actual narrative through the level design and the mechanics, actually.
And a real part of it is that music.
So what did they say for their feedback?
Okay, so feedback. So, they received the following feedback. Ensure that each choice made is meaningful, that the player has enough information to make an educated decision. So they thought they did this throughout their game. They explain, or at least hint at, the different outcomes from each choice, so the player never goes in blind. Then the second feedback they received was make sure that a player can always get to the end of the game, even with poor resource management.
Yeah.
So they did that through a non-optimal path, so each level is navigable, but not needing any extra bits. Incorporate suitable poetics. They ensured that their mechanics for the narrative and the core of the narrative, and I actually think they did this very well. They thought about that.
Yeah. Tell
the player about the bread aim, that they need it. So they changed their initial idea from not telling the player at the beginning that they would need the resource at the end to save all the brothers. So they told them in the tutorial level.
I missed that.
I missed that as well.
Yeah, there's one of the cut things of like, eat some bread. It was just as you jumped up to the table to get the bread. And then ensure narratological impact of choices. So we have a range of extra choices given to the player through the use of cutscenes.
Yeah.
And I actually think they did the cutscenes.
Yeah, they're good.
Very nicely.
So actually, I mean, they listened and they did make quite a few changes. Based on the
They
feedback.
did. They listened and they made some.
I mean, I think so. Good was that feedback was articulated,
Which they did.
and reasonable changes we made with some success. And excellent would be feedback was clearly articulated and appropriate and effective changes have been made. So I would say that some of the changes they've made have been effective.
I agree. I think there's somewhere between good and excellence. There was a few places where they just didn't quite go far enough in their changes to make them excellent.
But otherwise, they've clearly thought about it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we should probably move on to our next game. Okay, so on to our next game, which is The Mystery of the Shoemaker. So we had some problems getting this to run, so we've had to load it up in Unity. So I'll be running it from the Unity editor. Let's get it going and see what it looks like. Oh. Dark, yep. WAS to walk, press I for inventory, that's quite good.
Yeah.
I think
Good memory of the original tutorial-based coursework.
we have got a mask on, right? That's not just me.
I don't know, we've got kind of...
What happened with the eye?
I wonder if they... So one of the things that
100
we...
gold pieces.
One of the things we talk about is by encouraging people to go to certain places by lighting them up. And they seem to have taken that quite literally by lighting up the woman in
Did
the
you
corner.
pick up something there?
I can arm my leather. No.
Press I.
Oh, we have some.
There you are.
Alright. What's down
Very ominous music.
here?
What's going on with the time in the top right-hand corner?
Oh, put E to place the leather. Let's put the leather there.
Should I talk to her first? Or...
Yeah.
Alright. Let's get some plot.
The time stopped. Wife. Dear, let's call it a day. We'll worry about getting more leather tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
It's a little arrow in the bottom right-hand corner. Is that anything?
Oh, no.
Oh. Can you just walk off?
Ah, very nice.
Press E, did you?
Oh, I see. I have to keep
let's-
mashing E.
Oh, let's go to bed, dear.
Okay, I'm stuck in. Oh, that's nice though. I can keep having the last dialogue
Okay.
option.
Can you go to bed?
Put the leather on the... First, let's put the leather down.
Alright. And then
That's your workbench, isn't
I
it?
guess we go to bed now.
No, did you put the leather down?
Yeah, the leather's there.
Really? I can't see it, I'm sorry.
I assume we can't leave either right now. No. Alright,
Let's go to sleep.
let's have a nap. It's
Yeah.
11 in the morning though.
No, I think that's PM. I
So
don't
that's
know,
supposed to be. Well, let's see what happens when
That's-
it gets to 12. We'll find out.
Alright. This is the real mystery here. Is it morning or is it evening?
Or is this just how many seconds we've been playing, and it's
Okay, we're gonna wait for it to hit. Okay, so we have got. Are these pigs or dogs?
Here we go.
Or
Here we go.
is it a
Is it
cat?
a time of day or is it minutes?
Ah, there we go.
It's minutes.
Alright, we're going for an early afternoon nap. Come on, go take a sleep.
That's 24-hour clock, I bet.
Why are we going to sleep at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?
I don't
Because
know.
we're tired, we're depressed.
Right, start of new day. I bet it starts at 9
Right, here we go.
or 8 or something. 6.
It's a very early riser.
Oh,
More leather.
oh God.
Right. That sign. Remember to put leather on your workbench before bed.
Jesus.
Well, hang on. We did, didn't we? Was the...
We did. This is the next. So
Are there boots there?
There- boots
those look like boots to me. The things on
Yeah.
top of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've appeared and they weren't there previously.
All right. So we need
So
more.
where do we
Can you
get more
pick up
leather
the
from?
boots?
No, I seemingly. Oh, I can pick up something there.
What's that?
I think I armed the plum paw.
What
A flower.
That's useful.
Okay.
else can you pick up? No, don't sleep.
Oh, it's. I can't.
Can you leave? Yeah.
Oh no, I
Oh,
can. Okay.
what? It's a new day. Why is it dark?
This is one of those horror towns,
It's
Dave,
daylight
that's always.
savings time.
It's like we're in the northern town, the northern part of Finland.
Oh
or
no,
something.
it's too dark. Okay.
Let's stick to the path. Wandering off into the forest in the night.
So
Oh,
again, nice useful path to
Yeah,
actually
and light.
help people to go and direct them.
So the mood is very good so far. It's definitely going for that horror vibe, at least. Seems like
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, there's music and sound effects, both the
Somewhat
army pot
pixely,
plants and
pixely pictures, but
Yeah.
okay.
can we steal any of this guy's stuff?
Can we talk to him?
Oh, that too.
No. Oh. Hiya, I'm Rob. Do you like my hat? Yep, it's a sweet hat, Rob. I have a collection of hats, but I won't tell you where it's hidden. Well, that's a challenge. You look very hatless.
I
think we ought to go and get a hat, and then he'll talk to us. Oh, there's some...
Let's just talk to the angel here.
Yeah. I'm Eleanor. Do you like my wings? They don't fit my outfit, but they were free in the Unity store.
Okay, that's just a...
Is that all Lena had to say?
That's all she had to say.
We need to find his hat. We find his hat.
Alright. I don't mind like sort of those comedic characters being put
Actually,
to...
can you go back in and talk to Elena for one more second? Oh, maybe not. Okay.
I don't see a hat in here.
It's a look.
I think we need to find it elsewhere. It might be...
I said they were hidden somewhere.
Yeah. So we have a pot plant in our inventory. We have to go find other things, huh?
Seems like it.
Okay.
We are definitely going for that, like...
Look, it's afternoon and it's brighter.
Huh.
Oh, yes.
Do you think it resets when you go indoors, or...?
No, I think it might just be based on time.
Alright, that's... So I'm a little concerned that timer is ticking down and I don't really know where I'm going or what I'm doing, other than getting more
there's
leather.
another building. Go get in that building.
It's...
Whoa, can't see a thing.
Oh my goodness, there's like...
Health potions, please. Okay.
Can you pick up anything? What's
It's
in
a
that
perfectly
chunk?
normal looking bloke there.
We're just looting this guy's hat.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you let people wander around your...
Pick it up. What was it?
I
It
don't...
really should tell you what you pick up.
It was a helmet.
A helmet.
Right.
Oh, is that a hat?
Nice to meet you.
Oh, it is
Hi,
a
Thor. Last time I was out hunting a bear, came out of nowhere and ate my...
Matilda.
Matilda. I barely escaped with my life.
Oh, Matilda.
Oh, Matilda. Oh, she's my beautiful bow. Okay, that makes more sense. I dropped my Matilda and ran for the hills. I was hunting in the forest to the south, near where the river meets the stream. I've got some spare leather lying around for you if you find it for me. Ah, there we go. So we need to go and find a bow down by the stream.
Okay.
And we also might have a hat. Can you put the hat on? Could you click? You bring up your inventory. Can you click on it? And...
No.
No, I think it's just a...
Don't drop the hat.
So it's definitely getting darker as it gets later. That's...
Go and see the man with the sweet hat again. Let's see if we can
give him a helm.
Say, hey, look at our steel hat.
We need leather for the elves, right? I'm concerned what happens if we don't.
Yes, I would be too.
No, he's still waiting on that hat collection.
Let's go to was it down
oh
the
god,
river
the lights
south
flickered.
or something?
It was down by the river. There was where he dropped the bow, right?
It must be Finland. It's only Finland where it gets light at like midday and then it's dark by 4 o'clock in the afternoon again.
Should we just go home and go to sleep?
I'm slightly concerned about doing this, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure this is. I thought you said south, not north.
That's not east. Hang on a second. This is the problem with isometric, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. We found a creepy man. Oh, creepy man. Oh, he's a priest. Okay.
Welcome to this holy place. The folk right here understand and appreciate there are forces beyond their control. It is wise of them.
Okay, he's warning us about the elves, isn't he? Can we rob the priest?
I'm kind of liking this, but it is a bit all spread out for something which is supposed to be playable in 10 minutes.
I think we've got to go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
I like the fact that's gone red, even though I don't know what it means.
Yep.
It's definitely bad.
It's probably bad.
No, let me home. Let me home.
Were we told there was some kind of curfew?
No.
That would have been a useful thing to be told, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
that's telling.
Maybe
right?
the elves scrolling on the wall in more blood while we have a daytimer was the hint for that. Oh god. Oh god.
Uh-oh. Start of a new day.
Oh, okay, maybe it's just a warning then.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Should we go home and see like if he's murdered our wife or something?
Or the cat.
Or the cat.
Dog pig thing.
Please don't have murdered our dog pig. Okay. More leather.
Oh, wife has something to say.
I saw that priest, Father Silver.
Oh,
People
okay.
waiting. He said he urgently needed to talk to you. You were
so
literally just with him.
We have got more shoes now.
Oh,
Do you think he'll turn the pig dog into shoes if we're not?
I'm wondering if they're turning villagers into shoes. How do I?
Oh wow, that would be a lovely twist on the story. You get free shoes, but your neighbours are mysteriously disappearing.
Alright, so we need to go to the church, which was not this one. It was all
over this way.
Yeah,
It was east north.
So he said the forest by the river was where he dropped his bow, right? So we desperately need that.
So I thought he said it was down to the south. So
Yeah. So I'm guessing this rock wall down here is a cliff. It's just an impassable object.
I don't think you've been up here.
This is definitely a long walk, isn't it?
Where are you going?
The wife said to go see the priest.
This is the church.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to look for the bow.
Oh, I'm going for the church. You have much to learn about this town and world.
I haven't seen you during a service, so it is clear to me you are a non-believer. This town cannot be whole without the shared bond of faith, so you must prove yours to me. Over the coming days, you must find and collect each of the 3 treasures which were placed at the start of the day. You will know in your heart what they are, and your faith will guide you. May your way be true. Don't you hate that when the family priest says you can only come and worship here if you find these 3 random objects I've scattered around town?
Answer me these questions 3.
Every time we move, this happens.
It sucks.
And then they don't let your kids in the school. And, you know.
Okay, 3... But he didn't tell you any clues about where they might be.
No.
So we get this next tomorrow, and he said faith will guide you. So maybe we'll get something tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll give it the benefit
Maybe
of the doubt.
the angel will let us know.
Okay, so
there's an angel.
wait, what?
Well, no, not there. I just was remembering that there was an
Alright.
angel. I got excited.
There really was an angel, yeah. Right, go and have a poke round this river.
Alright, should we go up there? How about?
Well, am I misremembering? I thought he said to the south.
I don't know which way south is, Dave.
South is by
I
Dave.
presume it's down.
I'm getting the feeling that I might just be running out. This feels like I might just be running across the map, honestly.
Yeah, there's your map.
So they possibly could have done more to block off these areas. There's a lot of open space.
I think they've actually. It seems to me that they've actually done quite a nice system here, but it's too spread out.
Yeah.
And there's too much wandering about for what we're doing. I think if you were sitting down to play it for half an hour or 3/4 an hour or something, it might be fun.
Yeah. So maybe it could be in there for balance reasons with the time mechanic as well. But we could always have just sped that time up instead of
making the bigger space. Yeah, we've seen that in a few games actually.
You still haven't gone south.
I don't. What, is it that way?
It's down here. Down. Just head towards the bottom of the screen.
All right. Bottom of the screen.
Follow that path. Find the river, and then follow the river down rather than going north.
All right. Trees. We got trees.
All right. Go right because it was sort of off to the right.
Oh, but now it's too dark to see anything.
Yeah, there's a river.
Alright, we found the river, we got some trees. That's the field.
Yeah, what's up to the right there? There's some light.
That's just the road we were on earlier.
You reckon it's down here?
I don't know.
Could be. We're looking for a bow.
That looks like blocking terrain.
Yeah.
I have a feeling
what about this? This could be.
This could be it. Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Are we really chasing a bear in the middle of the night?
No, a bow.
Matilda, wasn't it?
Matilda the bow.
Right, but wasn't he running from a bear?
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Okay.
Nothing can happen.
We're back home now.
I also think we've missed the bow.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to Wifey.
Should we just sleep and see which
forget
of our
our
animals
troubles.
die? Okay.
Should we start talking through what we've got here?
Okay.
What do we think about the presentation?
I actually think it's a very nice presentation they have.
Rather nice, actually. Even though these little transitions.
They do. There's interesting, not only is there background music, but there's interacting sound effects. Wow, there's lots more boots.
There's some nice information design.
So I like this. This and the music immediately sets the tone of the game.
Absolutely.
It really does,
Absolutely. And I do they do have the timer up here, which helps, but I actually like the fact that this whole day and night thing is visually a part of the game.
Oh, a bow!
Yeah.
You found the bow? That was way easier than I expected.
We wandered around for 2 days!
That's not by the stream.
Alright, let's go talk to the guy who wanted the bow. Where was he? He was up there somewhere,
So
right?
in terms of the information design, a good would be key information is shown clearly, graphics are consistent, appropriate use of audio.
I think it's better than good.
I think it might be alright. So excellent is key information is shown clearly, consistent and appealing graphics, good use of audio. Prizeworthy is novel yet clear way of showing key information, consistent, thematically resonant graphics, excellent use of both audio effects and music.
I'm tempted.
Yeah.
Because it's all of the information that they're displaying actually is incorporated into the game, and it's actually part of what...
And like you said, like the blood writing on the wall is thematically resonant.
The day to night giving us the timing effect.
Really good use of music. I think...
Oh,
God, I was doing to think about coming back.
I took his chicken and he kicked me out.
Oh dear.
No, I'm coming back in his
That was
house.
a bag.
You locked the door.
Well, I mean, that's a story engine example right there, isn't it?
That is beautiful.
Okay, so I think we're saying for presentation we might be happy with the prize winner.
I think we are.
Mm-hmm. Let's go put this leather back anyway.
Gameplay. What do we think about the mechanics, the controls, and meaningful play? So the mechanics are exploration, interacting with objects.
Yep.
Sort of snippets of conversation.
Yep. You've got this time element going through that things have to happen in a certain order in a certain amount of time.
You've got the kind of the inventory thing. So we've got good would be a set of complementary mechanics, smooth usable controls, and meaningful play. I mean, it feels like you are playing. You just went on a quest to find a bow for a guy, and you've got it, and all the rest of it. So
Absolutely.
It's working. So I would say it's at least good. Excellent would be a wide set of complementary mechanics with intuitive and smooth, usable controls and enjoyable play. Do we think that it's broad enough to justify
to be
that?
honest, I actually think for a prototype game, I think we are in the excellent category on this.
I mean, the only thing I would question it on would be wide, because I think we have got the controls are very easy to use, and the play so far is intriguing, to say the least.
Okay, well let's go for excellent. I think that's a nice measure.
Can you give
bugs?
I don't know if we're not being able to place the leather down as a bug or not. Oh,
I won't forget this.
So they failed to show
foreshadowing. So bugs wise, I don't think we've seen anything, have we?
We're not sure if not being able to put the leather on the workbench is a bug or if it's because we haven't done something yet. It's the only thing.
So I will say, just to go back a little bit into information design, I will say that he did actually say, find this item for me, and it hasn't actually given any kind of hint.
Of what the item is,
Yeah, which would have been nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't noticed anything bug-wise yet, really.
And the level of complexity? Do you think it's excellent would be no bugs despite the complexity of the game?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe I talked to these guys either.
Oh, hell.
Now he realises I'm
that's
a bug. Okay.
Yes, that's
Well, that's very...
But it's a very rare bug.
Okay, he's just grateful for expanding his hack.
Let's go see the angel. Maybe she'll tell us.
Don't give my Okay.
What are we thinking for bugs? So there seem to be one or two little minor things. Then if we've got some issues with the narrative links and so on,
but they're minor, I think.
They're minor. We haven't noticed them until.
So good.
Is that home?
No, that's
Oh, he locked the door on you, didn't he?
Yeah, he's the asshole.
Are you happy to go for good for bugs?
I am.
For that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what's that?
The Great Eye.
Maybe that was. Is that a giant pile of poo in your inventory?
No, it's a chicken.
Oh, it's a chicken. Sorry. Sorry.
Nice.
What's he got to say? Okay.
Oh, that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to.
I think
we're
we're
trying
going
to
to
get
wait
leather to make the shoes again.
So I have 2 leather, but I can't seem to put them on my table for whatever reason.
Go back and try again.
Have you tried it actually putting the X on your inventory while you're nearby? Or?
No, I haven't actually. But it was just press E.
You know what? Actually, start of the new day. Let's check your inventory, see how many leather you have when we first get here. Maybe they'll take it out of your inventory?
Maybe.
No.
Still
there. 2 leather. So go back home. Let's try and get rid of this leather.
Let's go investigate the house. So that's a subtle but really nice thing. The sprite layering on the bushes was... was good.
Lots and lots of boots.
Still no... So they're just making boots. There doesn't seem to be any effect from me not putting more leather.
Alright, so if you go...
Maybe I have to put it on the workbench at night?
I don't know.
If you go down there, how did you do it before?
How did you do it before?
It just said it was a prompt. Press E to put leather on workbench.
And you're pressing E and it's not doing it?
Let's just drop her. Never mind, that doesn't do anything.
Maybe we've had a few bugs here.
Yeah. It's hard to tell, actually.
It is hard.
Well, there's so much of it.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to the priest.
I think at this point we're gonna, because we're spending a long time wandering around. This is a big.
It is.
Big
You're right.
demo. If we have a look at the have you got their game notes? at all?
Game notes. Yes, I do.
So, what do they say about the structure of the story?
The
then?
story engine. There are several occasions where you may fail to find leather. When this happens, one of your family members will be killed off and will leave a permanent hole where they used to hang out. So, interestingly, I haven't seen anybody dying yet.
No.
The cat's still there. The wife is still there.
All the people in town seem to be still there. At least the ones that we've seen already.
Yep.
Priesty McPriest is still here.
There are parts of the map that cannot be explored until your character progresses the story, and interactions with NPCs reflect your actions during their quests. There's a series of main quests that once failed impacts the narrative further and block you from completing the rest of those quests.
Okay.
On certain days, during a certain point in the narrative, some items appear in the world that were not there before. Every player choice is not chosen through dialogue, it is chosen through their actions in the game world.
Okay, nice. They've gone for some diegetic choices.
Mm-hmm.
That is very nice to see. Something we've definitely been lacking so far
We have,
in a lot of the
actually.
games.
I mean, I still think the problem here is it's just too big.
Yeah.
So we're spending a lot of time wandering about trying to find stuff.
Yeah, you can either get to most of the world in the day, and it's boring in between these things, so...
I can't tell what I'm supposed to be doing, and there's just not enough of a supper. There's not enough of the time to actually properly look around and figure out what I'm supposed to be doing on a given day.
Oh, I like the tall grass.
That looks nasty.
Oh, is that a tunnel? Let's go in there.
Okay, go there.
Go on.
Oh, I'm trying. I think it's actually crashed or something.
Oh, no.
No, it was just having a bit of a moment. Oh.
I can actually go in the cave.
And you are in the cave.
You are in the cave.
Dark. Go down.
I can't see anything.
I can't quite see enough.
I think you need a light.
It would make sense, wouldn't it? Maybe we need to...
Okay, how do we get a light? Can we get out? Are we lost in here forever?
That's alright, I know where I'm going. Ish.
Really?
No, I'm lost. Alright, let's go back to the exit to the cave.
There it is.
Alright, so there is a cave of some sort that we need to... Oh, there's a tent up there. There's a whole other part of this level.
So maybe this is one of those places that's been unlocked after we have progressed far enough?
Wait, is that the...
Can you go up there?
Is that the mansion? Yeah, that's the mansion. That's the knight's house.
Can you climb up there and go and have a look at this tent thing?
So I kind of want to head back to the...
Oh!
Alright.
Person. My name is Albert Elberhockey. You can call me Pops.
That's nice.
There's a lantern. Can you pick up that lantern and go back to the cave?
When you're in a dialogue box,
Yeah.
time does stop,
Yes.
which is good.
I haven't seen you areas. You are new to town. There's much to understand about this place. With time. Go on, grab his lantern.
Yeah, go get that.
Yeah! F2's the
to use
lantern.
it. Okay, now go back to the cave.
I think we should go back to the house.
Cave!
House!
Cave!
We haven't put any leather down. People might start getting...
Well, that's fine. That's all
yet.
part of the story. Let's go into the cave.
Oh, good God, okay.
You're just worried about the pig dog.
There might be a man-bear pig in the cave.
Yeah, we know there's bears around. Is it really safe to be in this cave?
What's that?
Terrain.
Oh.
It's fair for a minute. There we go. Lantern could be nice to have a slightly bigger lantern.
Oh, something's there.
It's huge. Why do you make the level so big?
Oh, doors.
Doors
You
we
say
can't get
that.
through.
I think that might just be terrain again.
Oh.
Boxes. Stuff.
It does look like some kind of door, actually. Okay.
Does look like a
So
door.
it does, or maybe a
I can't get through those anyway, and we're about to hit a new day.
set of pigeonholes at the post office. So it looks
Yeah,
like.
maybe drawers instead, huh? I wonder if that's where the elves live.
So, this is going to be quite difficult because we still haven't quite seen everything.
No,
But we also talk about the story engine.
we should. We've seen some bits of the story engine, right?
So, the story engine do the actions you take in the story affect the game world?
I think absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So, for example,
for example, he stole a chicken and the door locked.
So that would be mechanics affecting the
You're right, that
narrative.
is, yeah.
But also it was the character.
the character
bit of
never
both.
responded to that. So I think part of the problem is that it's all done diegetically.
Yeah.
So, so the point is, that you've been barred from the house because of something you did, and there's a narrative motivation behind it. So that's there.
We didn't do the thing for the priest. The priest got pissed at us, and now we can't get any more stuff from him.
Yeah.
So we didn't get the stuff from. So there is definitely an interaction there between.
Interactions both ways.
Yeah.
So. And I think where it does do very well is on the integration, because it's very well integrated with the game world. Right?
Yeah.
So, excellent for a story engine would be an effective story engine that is well integrated with the game world. At a number of points, the story impacts the game world and is impacted by events from the game world. Yeah?
Yes.
I
think that's probably...
The prize-worthy one is an effective story engine that is well integrated with the game world in a diverse way. So at a number of points, I'm using different mechanisms. So are there other places where this interaction happens?
So we've had failing stuff to get for the guy. We've picked up a chicken and he kicked us out of his house.
Yeah.
We've nicked... Oh, does this guy know he nicked his lantern? Oh, he wants a chicken apparently.
Let's give him a chicken.
Okay.
Did we give him a chicken? Oh, we gave him a chicken.
I don't know what we got from that, but...
You can talk to him, does he say?
He just says thank you for the chicken. So there definitely seems to be this weird...
Yeah,
bug with it's sort of days need to pass before you get new dialogue options with people.
Yes.
And the world is too big, the time is too short for you to go explore all those new people and dialogues. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost wonder if it would be... I like the day cycle, but I wonder if it had been without it, would it be a better game? With just letting you explore.
I don't think so.
No,
I think you just need to decrease that world and make it much faster to...
Make it smaller.
Okay, he's done.
So in terms of the story engine, I think we can definitely say it's excellent. There's a wide set of an effective story engine that is integrated with the game world well, so at a number of different points. Right, so that's excellent. Agency, in terms of the actual interactive story and the choices and these kind of things, do we have several branching points?
We've definitely done some minor things. It's whether the question is, I think, whether we've actually impacted the story in a major way. And
the problem is, I think we haven't seen enough of the overall story.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, looking at their narrative structure, there's a few things, right? So, they say they actually have 3 different things going on.
Okay.
First listed is the quest for the priest. So there's a series of things you can do for the priest. If you fail for the first priest quest, you get a bad ending. If you succeed at the first but fail at the second, if you fail at any of them, you get a bad ending. If you succeed in all of them, you get a good ending with a choice of siding with the priest or sealing the priest and darkness away. We are nowhere near understanding this game.
No, we're miles away.
Yep.
We just haven't seen enough of it.
Yep, there is. So that's a whole structure there for you to supposedly be involved in. And I think at this point we actually have already failed the first priest quest because he got pissed at us. So we're already off in that fail ending.
So that feels a little
sort of wandering about trying to find
something
else to interact with.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of the information design again, it would be just nice if they had some kind of hint, even if it was just text, some of them saying, by the way, I heard John the Butcher needs your help or something.
Yep. And
just to point you around.
Then there's the whole like the night day thing. So they have leather, no leather. So if you provide leather, boots get made. If you don't provide leather, first the cat disappears, then the pig disappears, then the wife disappears, and then the game's over and you disappeared because you get made into boots. So it looks
I really love the story.
I do too.
Yeah.
It should be.
Can you get back to the house and get to bed? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. I'm wondering if it's because we're not actually going to bed.
I think
there's
that's
something tied to the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe just go straight.
Just go straight to sleep, start a new day, and see who dies.
Let's go back into our house. So what have we got going on? So they're all still in here.
Yeah, they're all there. Let's go to bed. It's tiring at 6 a.m. I do that a lot.
Here we go.
Have we lost a cat? I won't be able to tell you. Nothing yet. I think Pops wanted to see you in case you know it's 10. Okay, so she's meant to be giving us prompts every morning, so actually when it does come to see what's going on, that's what we've been missing.
Yeah.
Still
Okay.
can't. But should we sleep again, or should we go see Pops?
Is that so? There's the dog. Here's the dog over here. Is that the pig? No, it's the dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got both the red pig dog and the orange pig dog.
Let's sleep again and just see if we can get that to. If we can get one of the pig dogs to die.
Okay, and then there's Pop's quest, and in this one the player has pure choice. So if the player chooses to help Pops, and there is no leather, one family member dies. If the player chooses not to help, but they do get the leather, then Pops dies.
I'm wondering whether this looks to me like it. This sounds really good.
Yeah,
but we're not seeing it.
And I think some of it is I think we might have gotten ourselves into games like the end game without the game ending.
So, I'm wondering whether
it feels like we've glitched it out.
Yeah.
So if you go and talk to Pops,
there he is.
So
let's see if
basically,
he gives you a quest, right?
No, the quest was he was hungry.
Something's not right with the place.
Oh, I guess we live in Pops' house.
I think Pops' quest was for food, and if we go get food for Pops, if we go get the chicken for Pops, we don't have enough time to get the leather.
Yeah.
And then the leather, so Pops dies.
Except he hasn't died.
Yeah.
Nobody's died.
It makes me wonder if we have managed to somehow bug out the game.
And that we're actually looking at a massive bug instead of a really good game with no bugs.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm beginning to wonder that myself.
Is it worth restarting?
Yeah, let's restart and see.
Let's
now
restart.
that we know the way through in various places, let's go straight to the priest. Maybe.
Go and talk to your wife first, because that's going to activate some stuff, right? Let's call it a day. Oh, please put it on your workbench. Right, so go and do that.
So this is definitely the last leather. Let's leave the plant pot as well. We didn't find a use for it. So.
Yeah. Actually, a while ago, you were supposed to give in the one they demoed in the expo. The angel thing wanted the plant pot.
Okay.
And it was like a mini quest to teach you about the quests.
So should we see if we can get someone murdered this time?
Yeah, I think that's the problem. The problem is we're not seeing any of the consequences we should be seeing in the game.
Absolutely.
Right, I'm going to go straight to sleep then.
Right.
No leather.
Yeah.
We still have 2 animals.
Go and talk to your wife. That's what she says.
Saw the priest.
Go and talk to the priest then.
Alright. What do you think the priest wants? Because last time he wanted some mysterious faith item. That was just a little bit too vague. It needs
Nor have we seen anything like a faith item. I mean, we found a pot plant, a chicken.
Yeah.
We have found that eye thing.
Yeah, that eye thing I think is important somehow.
Yeah.
So the problem we've got is we kind of, in terms of things like the agency and the poetics and so on, what they've described in their document sounds really, really good.
Yeah.
The concept is really nice. The way they flipped on its head.
Yep.
The way that you do these little quests and your success or failure gives you clues as to the mystery that's going on. I mean, this all sounds excellent. Right?
Yeah.
But we're just not seeing any of it.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 treasures. Your faith will guide you.
Right. So we know where the Great Eye is.
Do we? Where's the Great Eye?
It was down by the cave.
Thanks, I'm glad you remember that.
So maybe we should go and see if we can grab the Great Eye.
Yep.
And I'm also, the one thing
Then go to bed.
Mechanically, what I'm not sure about is what the effect of going to bed is. Right? So,
yeah,
what does it mean to not go to bed?
Yeah.
So
right?
I think it's meant to be the case that, I see what you mean.
So I'm beginning to think that you're right, that the day-night cycle is an issue in that it forces them to force a day end.
Yeah.
Whereas what should be happening is that you should be allowed to wander around and then it transitions when you go to bed. And you should have some kind of prompt that tells you. Right?
Yeah.
Right, that's our Great Eye. Let's see if we can get it to the priest.
Do we have to go to bed first, or do we have to go to the priest first? Because we were having some dialogue issues in between different days.
Maybe we should go to bed first.
Let's go to bed.
Sounded like he was going to give us a hint tomorrow anyway. So.
Okay. And we can still experiment to see if anybody dies.
Maybe that's a mechanic. Maybe every time we don't sleep, the game bugs out. That's the purpose of the bed. Right.
I do actually wonder if that's the case, to be honest. That there's something about the bed.
There we go. Yet another new game.
Alright.
Rattling around in drawers.
So we've got more shoes.
You still have a wife and
The sign, you remember to put... Okay, that's the same stuff as... So we're still making shoes,
And we
and not
still
from our
have-
animals.
2 animals and a wife.
Yeah.
That feels like that might be broken.
I think this is broken.
That's a shame, though.
It is.
Alright, so let's just go visit this guy. Because rather than stealing his chicken, what does he have to say?
Buy food.
Okay, so he says he can interest us in food, but the only stuff I can do is I can steal his chicken. So maybe we can buy something from him another day rather than steal it.
Maybe.
If it is bugged out, it would be a real shame because it does feel like there's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And the actual design of it, in terms of how it incorporates the narrative, both via the diegetic choices we already mentioned, and indeed the sort of broad structure of it is really nice on paper.
So I suggest we finish it as it is,
Yeah.
and then maybe we have a chat to them and see what they can show us.
Yeah.
So let's mark what we've seen.
Okay.
No, apparently I failed to get something for the priest already. That
Well,
sounds...
So
This is frustrating.
for agency, we've got an interactive story with several branching points. Interesting choices and attempts to manage player agency. Have we seen those in the game?
We've definitely...
They've talked about it a lot in their document. That's all there.
Yeah.
But is it evidenced here?
So I think if I had to criticise the choices, I'd say so far, having talked to a lot of people, most of them don't seem especially meaningful.
Yes. I don't know what I'm doing or why. And and because of that, there is little agency.
Okay, so we've got an interactive story with several branching choices and a few interesting choices.
Yeah.
You go as far as
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I'd
I
say
will
there's
go
a
with
few.
So that would be satisfactory, right? Poetics.
Until I could remember. I realised what had happened.
I rushed home to get to my kids to save them. It was too late.
All that was left were 2 bone chairs.
Oh.
Alright, so Pop's here. Okay, so that's supposed to be our hint that the elves are going to start murdering people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe now they will start murdering people. Now we've had the conversation.
And if so, you need to put Pops right next to the house.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
and this comes actually. It's what we're talking about agency. It's managing agency.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem is there seems to be things that are flung far and wide, which
Yeah.
cause the story to progress. It's just a complete chance whether you happen to wander up to them. Or not.
Absolutely.
This is the narrative paradox exactly, right?
Absolutely.
How do you force people to progress the story? For example, you could even have the same effect if what you've done is I put around town several different places where Pops might be, right? And then the first one of which you go to, Pops happens to be there, right?
That's right.
So you can't go anywhere without meeting Pops, right?
Yep.
And it just feels like you've serendipitously come across him. What about the poetics? So the narrative and gameplay complement one another as the key mechanics in keeping with the themes of the story. The themes of the story are definitely right,
Mm-hmm.
but it's execution.
Yeah.
If there was genuinely that leather, if genuinely people were dying,
Yeah.
I can
I would
see
that.
it because suddenly your entire day is about getting enough leather to keep your family alive,
Yes.
and then it really ties into this proper horror oppressive atmosphere.
Yep.
But it's,
We just haven't seen any death.
that's the problem.
Yeah. We want more death.
Yeah.
Well,
Hang on.
I think what we could do is we can say, well, in terms of the themes are there, that we've seen story elements which
Absolutely
relate
we
to this.
have.
So I'm actually happy with the poetics mark. That it's still pretty good.
I do too.
So I think a good
Yeah.
narrative gameplay complement one another, and the key mechanics are in keeping with the themes of the story. And I think that if it was working as it should do, then they would be emphasising the themes.
Absolutely.
So that puts the poetics to be good. In terms of the techniques, it's all told through a dialogue system within the game. That is only one system, though. We did suggest to them they might want to use multiple ways of. there's environmental stories.
There's environmental storytelling, is what I was going to say. There's stuff happening in the world.
Stuff like the signs appearing and that kind of thing.
And even though there's only been 1 or 2 instances of it, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
So, what about the pacing? That's the problem, isn't it? It's too drawn out.
Yeah, and sadly, I think if they actually had people killing, dead, sorry, and the world was smaller, the pacing would actually be really nice.
Yes. Yeah. So I think what we have here is pacing unclear or flat, which is pass.
Yeah.
But there's the use of more than one game writing technique, which is good. And in fact, you might even say appropriate use of game writing techniques. So you might even say that is excellent.
I actually think their game writing techniques is excellent.
So if we sort of average those two out, we end up with sort of halfway between satisfactory and good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, what about feedback? What do they say about their feedback?
Oh, their feedback. So they had a few pieces. Don't forget what you learned in the first coursework. Think about your core dynamic and how to introduce controls to the players. They decided their core dynamic was survival, and that's why they have a timer, basically, to go shoot how much they have left.
Yeah.
With resources are scarce, and the player needs to complete quests to be given leather. They did that, although we haven't found more leather. Anyways, we haven't completed any quests.
We found 2 pieces.
We found 2 pieces, but we
But
haven't
we could do anything with them.
quests. Yeah. Think about how to make the game feel creepy, horror-y. They significantly darkened the scenes and added a few light sources. During the nighttime, the street lights flicker. They have the sound of walking and opening doors.
Yep.
Weirdly, this one says they went with no background music, but I think they might have added that in after this.
Yeah.
So, make the game feel more like a story, have a clear path, and by the way, I think the music actually adds something, and it shows that you actually were thinking about that facet. Make the game feel more like a story, have a clear path, beginning, introduction to culmination. In the beginning, we have the wife introducing the problem to us. We have no leather. We made it so with each quest, you learn more and more about the characters and their story.
Yep.
With the priest quest, you get to learn more about this cursed blessing over your leather. With each quest, the player gets closer to revealing the truth of being evil. Now, I will say it's probably all in there, but because the game world is so big, you can't see everybody in a day.
Also, they've used what we're after with feedback is how they change the game in response to what we've got, and that's actually a description of how their game works.
Yeah.
Right? But they've clearly done some stuff. So the atmosphere stuff works really well.
Yep. And their tutorial bits and their core dynamic and being true to that worked.
Yeah. So I think, good would be feedback was articulated, reasonable change being made with some success. I think that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, agreed.
That's good. Okay, so I think we're a little bit disappointed here. They've got a really nice idea for a game. It's clearly really well executed. They've got lots of interesting things going on, and it's just such a shame that we can't actually see it.
Yeah.
Of one last chance for them to turn our family into shoes.
Come on, I want pig dog cat thing dead.
Cat shoes.
Here we go.
Yeah.
They're rattling around in the drawers. Pig dog's fine, cat's fine, wife's fine.
Oh well.
All right, I think we're going to have to move on.
Yep.
So in fact, I think that was our last game. So we will wrap it up there, and we'll see you in another video.